Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Maya, for emceeing, to Erin and Sarah and Didi for your beautiful reading, and Joe for bringing us together and reading 57 poetry books. That's like more than I read in maybe a year. So yeah, thank you. I'm going to open with a duplex called If Words Cost Nothing. If words cost nothing, I would use them to build a bridge and cross into the sea. I would build the sea and bridge across the 7 named zones defined by sun. I would have 7 names. I would define the sun. At night, I would collect sentences with a net. Let night collect into a sentence stretching across species and memory. I would stretch and remember species of phytoplankton older than desire. I would age like plankton. I would desire you outside of a body, outside time. In time, you stand outside with a body. I will love you with nothing but words. Thank you. It's really exciting to be in the same building as Jericho Brown today because, as many of you probably know, he invented the duplex and popularized it in his book, The Tradition. And that's the first poem in my book and also the poem where the title of my book comes from. And I love that the duplex is, even though it's 14 lines, you really only have 7 lines to work with. It feels like such a beautiful way of enacting what poetry actually can do, which is like reuse language and compress language into new ways. Cool. I grew up in Georgia, and my first time actually at the Decatur Book Festival was when I was in high school over 10 years ago. So it's such an honor to be back. And before our family moved here to Atlanta, we lived in Huntsville. And one thing that both my parents are here today. And they said that while we lived in Huntsville, they would drive to the Atlanta Chinatown to buy soy sauce, even though it was like many hours away, because that was the nearest place we could find it. This poem is called Endeavor. In the International Space Station, a sequined dinosaur rotates midair. One astronaut's son calls out, "I love you, Mommy," before his mother enters the spacecraft. So far, we've sent $1 billion per person sent up. We here means the United States. My mother studied to be an astronaut in another country, laughs now at how far her life is from rockets. The first years in Huntsville, she drove hours across the state border with my father to buy soy sauce. Like deer, they followed salt away from Rocket City. I imagine the universe where my mother jokes with mission control. 先蹦一蹦,再看. Her words naturally contain the moon, 月, the object of her gaze, 目. The words we use have what we need within them. In orbit, the astronauts named their rocket Endeavor. My mother asked for what she wanted in her passwords, the typed stars recording without revealing her desires. When the rocket's 4 parachutes finally filled, we began to breathe again. We begin with the end, but do not end there. Once the rocket contacted water, the filled bells unfurled like some god's dropped napkin. Star, 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 star equals God bless me a boy. What isn't inevitable? How we cheer when they return to earth. How deer return to the same salted woods. How prayer can be the size of a word. Dear God, bless our end. Dear end, devour me a boy. Dear boy, an end can mean our blessed good. 看. Thank you. And the last 3 lines of that poem are anagrams of the title Endeavor and of God Bless Me a Boy, which was once my mother's password and currently is not, so don't try using it. On the theme of space, this poem is called By Things We Live, and I wrote it shortly after learning that Bach is the artist with the most musical pieces represented in the Voyager Golden Records, the records that we sent out in space with the Challenger shuttles. And I love that that's the type of music that we want to use to represent our species if we were to ever encounter other types of life. By these things we live. As if the universe would not be much without us to comprehend it back. We who praise anything with hemispheres, a waste, our soft, halved brains, our own split globe, so close to self-recognition it nearly frays. Bach's last piece, unfinished, spells his name in the notes. He got so close it killed him, or, strangely, so we hope. We return to foundations, the other golden record sounds. We hope they are enough, drive home from work. We go for walks. The marsh grass takes in salt until its round tips redden and drop off. Away in space, they play our best and proudest sounds. Rain, earthquakes, the bark of wild dogs. Thank you. And because we're here in Georgia, I want to read this poem called Lake Lanier, which paints my sister as perhaps more threatening than she actually is in person. Lake Lanier. After jumping into the water to retrieve my little brother's lost sock and paddling back to our rented boat to haul myself up, gleaming with warm lake water so muddy it is tea-colored, my big sister tells me a secret. You know there are dead people at the bottom of this lake, she says, as my body dries in the July sun, because of the dam. I do not want to hear this, do not want to picture a waterlogged mother waiting for her children to return from school at the narrow kitchen door, pruny from the years, unclear whether her frown lines are from water or worry. It's so deep your heart could stop from the cold, a force field around those houses and hearts, shield to even the bravest diver. I look around at the families on their squat boats like ours. They buckle kids into life vests, drink beer, slather sunscreen onto their arms, unaware. To them, the lake is still a lake. It is too late for me now, and though I am tired and ate, I think of the cold water around my feet moments earlier, how it hurt my ankles, icy compared to the sun-warmed surface. And I can't help imagining, despite everything, diving headfirst into the mud, swimming until the brown turns black, so cold it tightens my chest, so deep I might escape the surface world for just a bit, kick down to the village that can never tell me its secret, and sit with them for a minute or two before I return, limbs tingling. Thank you. I have just 2 poems left. This one is called I Drive as My Family Sleeps. I take us south toward home. The work is done, the truck loaded and chugging. Even the rain has stopped for a while. Earlier, my parents ate together for the first time in years, holding foil-wrapped pork on the edge of a cargo bed, their knees almost touching. I wonder if we know how to be with each other without labor. Even this journey north to clear out an old warehouse by ourselves, the 5 of us refusing to hire help, proves just how far we'll travel for a meal together. Reunited, we wrap furniture. We take out garbage, collect branches to toss in the strip mall dumpster. Even the youngest of us, my brother, understands what is required. He learns to maneuver the truck in the rain and carries his best tools from home. I glance in the rear view. For once, everyone is asleep. Necks slack, mouths gently opening. Soon we will arrive, unload the truck, lift dressers, scrub scales from the fish for dinner, working again at our lives. But for now, this quiet mile is the only thing on earth that is ours. Thank you. I'm going to close with the last poem in the book. It's a poem that takes place in October in the theme of keeping with the seasons. And thank you all so much for being here and choosing to start your morning off with some poetry and supporting the book festival. This poem is called 大连. I touched the sea in the city where my grandparents met. The day was blue, the water rough and green. It was October, the ocean finally open for harvest. I practiced the word for abalone in my mind. 鲍鱼, 鲍鱼, a fish in a word, a fish in a pocket of light. My grandparents' street must have been a pocket of light when they met. No one knew until the 2 young neighbors' love had already taken hold. Time took my grandfather young, everyone agrees. My grandmother, alive and 90, holds on alone. This is the same city where I learned to speak and walk, I left young, before memory could take hold. No one told my mother her father had died because she was pregnant with me. Perhaps he held part of his world by the coast open after he left. 鲍鱼, 鲍鱼, the word for hold and the word for fish. Friends ask how I can love the sea if I grew up hours inland from the coast. I never knew. For years, I held this place only as an idea. Here at last, I edged my sneakers away from oncoming waves. I splashed the surface of the seawater with my palms. When my mother found out her father was gone, she said I quaked in her belly so hard she thought she would split open. When I arrive, the abalone we will eat are already split and shining. My whole life, arriving at any sea, I have reached for the water with my hands. Thank you all so much.